Are we live yet? Okay. Anyways, I should, as always, probably stop the transmission because when I am watching my own stream, it lags. Wow, surprising. Who would have expected that my PC would lag with yet another thing? Anyways, here we are. Also, also, I I kind of forgot to what? Yeah, to properly set up stuff. Let's say it like that. Uh, Once again, completely. Anyways, the the real point. Before I forget, uh, was it? It was Beta. Um, Beta said something about trying a different program and using it for the sake of lowering the resources that are consumed when you stream and such. So we are going to test. We are going to see how that works to begin with. I I want to try out of that stuff basically, and I want to kind of see if it properly works like it should. Uh, it simply means it simply will, so to speak, be quite a useful thing to already have implemented in many ways, I guess. After all, uh, main concept, main situation, let's say it like that, main situation. We cannot have these subtitles, captions, text appearing on screen, aka distractions overall. Yeah, to a certain degree. Being honest, um, the very wonderful text that serves as an eye-catching feature just for the people who needs to have anything happening on screen. That's the proper explanation as to why we have them. Um, and also, secondary reason, obviously, it is because there is a certain degree of mispronunciations and whatnot and mumbling, my beloved. So I think it is quite good to have a text which can help with the, I don't know, with the proper follow up, with the proper follow up should be the word, I think, with the proper understanding of what is being said. Let's go with that one. Um, so it is quite interesting to have it. Also, for that reason, the main one, once again, isn't really that. It is, wow, there is text always appearing on screen. So interesting. Wow. I think it is quite, being honest, it might as be, it might as well be even insulting to a certain degree. After all, you are pretty much assuming that people can't find it interesting enough by themselves, so to speak. And also, there is this weird idea, there is this weird notion later on when you properly pay any kind of attention that somehow people can't even choose for themselves what is interesting and they need to be always baited with something. I don't think it works like that, quite honestly. Um, in such a world of entertainment, so to speak, like here, it doesn't make sense. But if it satisfies any kind of excuse, then so be it, I guess. Yeah, yeah. So far, it has been quite a good time, I guess. I don't know. I have been doing well. That's the response. I have been doing well. Welcome, son. I hope you are also doing well. That's what matters. Have a nice seat. Have a nice, comfortable time. And yeah, as I said, I hope everything everywhere is going fine. Yeah, what a crazy thing to say, even. But anyways, that I was trying to explain. I was trying to say before I lost myself on my own words that yeah, surely it is quite interesting that we can test. So far, it seems, although that there are some um, losses when it comes to the FPS going down and whatnot, unavoidably it lags even a bit. But I guess it's to be expected. You cannot win completely. It's kind of impossible. Um, at the very least, compared to before, it doesn't lag as much. So uh, a victory to some degree. But yeah. Anyways, that was secondary reason to be here. Um, and yeah, we in reality we have like 1,000 different things to talk about. We should be trying to speed up the pace and trying to pick up where we left because there are quite quite a handful of considerations to have and whatnot. Um, yeah, I will mentally not be calm unless I mention that, or I try to mention that. There might be echo. Wow, there might be some of that. Perhaps I hope not, but I know that my room now has echo. So uh, if there is any echo, blame my room. Do not blame particularly me. I cannot occupy so much space just to not have echo. But yeah, anyways, the point is that there might be echo. Okay, next. Um, we created, so far it seems, we created the yeah, yeah. Personally, I don't know why do I have to define it. I don't know. If it were to be called a podcast or something of the sort, I guess it would be easier. Something like a talk show of or a wandering bar. That thing has been created, and so far it seems that we can keep a little bit of consistency yeah, in the sense that it doesn't really take that much to organize something that by nature is so free spirited, so to speak. So we have that. And why would the mention of this matter right now? Probably, um, if everything keeps going well, this next, when is it? This next Saturday, second or officially first episode, I guess, also, um, will happen, probably. If not, if I don't mention that, I will also feel bad, let's say. But yeah, uh, another thing that I wanted to rapidly, at the very least, explain. Um, so yeah, quite a beautiful thing indeed. I mean, from an outsider perspective, there is always something weird about this. From an outsider perspective, you wouldn't even realize that the creation of such a project would be so complex because, after all, it is, as I said before, it is something very unorganized. You shouldn't try to give it any particular kind of a structure or anything like that. You don't need to give it an structure. It shouldn't need to be something overly centered in a particular shape and a particular format and whatnot. You don't truly win. In these cases, when you force upon such creations so much structure, there is a certain degree of freedom, even more in this type of events, in which you can very much have guaranteed a better expression of the participants by letting it be. Therefore, it is quite hard to let people be. It, it is quite hard for many people to not follow a plan to begin with, and to organize themselves around something that by nature is also not organized. It's quite weird, but it is entertaining to say the very least. And yeah, I guess it takes as with everything really, like, it takes time, but it is rewarding. So happy with that, I guess. That is the second thing. A third one, another thing to say would be, let me think. There are, like, yeah, one second. There are too many things to say. Um, Perhaps if I was more consistent, we wouldn't have this problem. Perhaps it might be true. Anyways, we're going to ignore that statement in this case. Um, I guess if anybody has seen, if we are properly following the narrative of what is, individually speaking, uh, my own desires and whatnot. I have mentioned in the past that I wanted to create some sort of work. Um, I think I finally found the proper term some time ago. Uh, I think it was desertion on or dissertation on English, something like that. I can check. Why don't I check? And basically, the point is, yeah, I haven't forgotten about my own words. And in this case, I think it will be being honest. Something wonderful to have. I I don't think it truly helps anybody to let go of something that could potentially have so much utility, and which could be in so many ways, at the very least, interesting to express. Um, in the realm of ideas, I think there is always this concept of, you will always, no matter what you do, there will be a point in which you will have to deal with the consequences. And the worst thing that might always happen is not that you did something bad and you have to deal with the negative consequences of that. By default, accepting that something might go wrong and being capable of acting in response to that error, even if the error itself is quite horrible and whatnot, considerations of the particular bad thing which happened itself aside, it is better to deal with the consequences of having acted than to deal with the mental punishment that is to fail to accomplish anything that you truly wish. There is honestly, On an individual level, everybody should be capable of realizing that there is nothing more meaningless than to having to be continuously tortured by your own mind because you haven't even given up an opportunity to things that you see so much that you want to have. So, in that sense, where did I even try to go to what I was saying? In that sense, it will happen at some point. The dissertation will be made. I I think I am trying to kind of hold back in this present moment, um, because on another line of awareness, there is even this wonderful notion that, okay, I think it should be understandable. Many people struggle with the possibility of even finding what they are doing in any kind of degree interesting or meaningful enough to suffice their suffering in terms of doing what they need to, on one hand, and on the other, it also happens with most people that there is this realization in which you can finally understand why, in the very same line of suffering, your responsibilities, which seem so annoying to comply with, make sense to comply with, basically. A very particular, uh, yeah, I, I think so. A very particular example is always if you simply observe yourself as somebody who exists and don't realize how important it is for you to perform your job, you could very well fail and not only put yourself at risk, but put everything that is around you at risk. Because if it were to happen that what you are not even considering as something important, in this case of your own existence, is your own necessity to comply with your job, as somebody who works in a nuclear factory, for example, one of the best and most exaggerated examples to understand the idea. If you can't even get at that degree how necessary it is for you to properly measure everything and to properly be there to do what needs to be done in terms of work, not only you are putting your own existence at risk, there is always many more consequences that might arise from neglecting what ends up being unavoidably the final catastrophe that might happen if you decided to not see it as something necessary and as something on the line of an obligation. The possibility of making sense out of anything in reality in life that you truly wish to pursue. Inside of that, there is this type of realization. And now, that's the good side. The problematic side is also, I don't personally, I don't know to which degree. Also, it happens that, so to speak, the mind decides to play games and say, wow, it should be rather the most important thing for you to focus on um, this one interest, this one different interest that has nothing to do with the other responsibilities that you hold so far, like on a different type of explanation, you could say, I don't know to which degree it makes sense to hear my desires when it comes to. I get that I want to survive. At the very least, I get that. But I don't know if inside of the survival aspect, I need to be playing every single day in the park or try to eat every single day a cherry without any particular reasoning behind the pleasure found in doing so. You know, it doesn't, I don't think it is the most crucial thing to the survival of anybody, and even less my own survival. So I don't think it makes sense to hear that inner desire, so to speak, and what I am trying to do with that, because there is that, yeah, there is that appearance, that um, discovery that you make when you finally can make sense out of the actions, the necessary experiences that you will need to go through, and similar things of that very nature. There is something along those lines that you also feel, that is the attraction towards similar or even better types of experiences after having minimally started with one of them. And instead of that, there is this problem of, sadly, I don't know, personally speaking, if truly, um, yeah, yes, I want that much to make it. Not in terms of creating, we're talking about the manuscript and creating dissertation that might in any kind of way benefit whoever reads it. Not that I don't want to do it. I don't know if it is truly honest to spend so much time working on something of that nature when it should be mostly something that is understandable, not something passionate that you write as if nobody will ever try to make sense out of. That is kind of the completely main focal point. That you try to explain something in order to try and give other people any kind of tool. You can't rush your soul just to satisfy a selfish desire in that very same sense. I don't think it makes any degree of reasonable logic to say, yeah, you know what? Because here we are going to go as fast as we can to see in any degree if we can get this piece of work done. What? No, it doesn't work like that, and I will try my best to avoid doing something like that. Um, so yeah, that's so far the best excuse that I have in terms of why I am avoiding creating the dissertation. I haven't even started working on that, but yeah, I guess I should minimally begin to. It is quite sad to see so much hope and so much interest put onto something disappear. Even more, this kind of goes into a different line, but at the same time, I don't really want to talk about it. It takes too much time simply to explain. Um, well, I mean, we have barely started. Maybe we have time. Perhaps we have time. We could give it a try. Uh, Give me a second. I will think about it while I drink some water. Haha. Wow, hydration. Okay, I guess it it is a possibility. we need to at the very least explore it. I was trying to talk about inside of the creation of the dissertation itself, there is something very funny that you realize after some time of consideration, and that is you can indeed gain quite a lot the moment in which you put onto practice the different types of knowledge that you gain from learning itself and from actively trying to integrate into your life as much knowledge as you can. And inside of that very realm, it happens that I am pretty sure so far that we are very well equipped to create something that makes a good point on most topics that personally somebody has researched. And that's even kind of the most fantastic aspect of this whole idea, that the most people have that possibility by default. They don't really need to delve deeper. The only problem is it takes patience, and it doesn't even need to be said as, oh wow, this is such a problem. It is unrealistic to expect that you're going to sit down and write in one paragraph a, a complex analysis, a complex explanation about something that you truly care about, and in one page change the lives of anybody. It doesn't happen that way. But inside of that very realm, I do feel like mm, in the particular pursuit of the ideas that I have, I can say right now that when I finally get to work onto that, it might be a good piece, simply based on the reality that the ideas contained and the observations that it will have inside of the dissertation itself shouldn't in any particular way be hard to understand, because I don't understand why it happens, but most of them come from very obvious things which most people simply don't mention at all. I guess it's like you realize that there is something incredibly obvious about the nature of a certain thing, yet somehow you don't even try to talk about it. And that is weird indeed. But I am not here to criticize that aspect, at the very least today. I am simply here stating, and because I can realize that, I can, at the very least, try to spend some time working on a sensible explanation or a sensible observation that doesn't simply say, oh wow, yeah, the water is wet, surprising, incredibly surprising, outlandish remark, even. No, it tries to be something that can minimally assist anybody who tries to pay attention to it, and minimally give something back for the time that you will spend observing the different concepts that are contained inside of that. It it is indeed something that should try, and that probably will be, to a certain degree, capable of giving enough tools to whoever analyzes it. The problem is certainly how long it might be and which many ideas will it talk about and whatnot, but that is a really a problem that I have to deal with once I am finally creating it, I don't think it matters that much to speak about it here. Um, yeah, to another in another direction, and to a certain extent, it does even make very much sense the consideration of and how much of the discussion that is actually occurring right now does truly assist in the creation of that, or if it simply goes along the lines of, oh, well, yeah, I tell people that I am going to spend the time doing this one thing, therefore I get the validation that I would have gotten simply because I said to people that I will spend time doing this one thing. Therefore, I might not even feel the necessity to create this one thing because everybody realizes that I can do indeed this one thing. Therefore, I have no need to do it anymore. Perhaps it goes also along those lines, but yeah, it is kind of sad to realize that it took that direction in any moment. It shouldn't try to be that way. It it truly is. The ideas that I want to discuss truly are something that I think matters, and it will be quite sad to see that in internal, subjective, personal pleasure wins against the necessity to produce something useful and the necessity to make the case for something that needs to be paid attention to a reality. So yeah, I guess that's a different type of problem. But anyways, I will need like 1 second. Thank you, because I am having like one minimal problem. As I said, give me like one very tiny instant. I will be back in, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. Also, I am losing my mind because I don't have the clock noise as loud as I wanted. So yeah, give me 1 second. Thank you. I'm back. I simply need like 1 second to. The reality is, I very early in the morning I have like a weird type of what is it? Allergies. Not really allergies because they end up passing after I had been awake for some time, so I don't even know how to classify them. But I have that in the morning, and I need to have some tissues with me. I forgot to have some, so I went in the hand of them. Anyways, completely off topic. Uh, the real point, quite happily, I kind of finished before leaving. So I guess that is that, but being quite honest, indeed, it will happen. I will try to make it. Also, son, I see that you're burning points like crazy. Very good show. Uh, I think it obviously is kind of an overstretch, no? But detachment from any kind of necessity is good. Not redeeming anything, but rather burning them away is fine. Very good show. Yeah. We love burning points around here. We love doing things that allow us to not have any more that attraction towards other things. It's so entertaining. But yeah, as I said, maybe it is an overstretch, perhaps. But at the very least, appreciation for it is ensured in any kind of way. But yeah, I don't know. There are. I kind of finished with what I truly wanted to begin with. The problem is now which direction to take. There are so many things to talk about. It is wonderful to see that. I think that's the reality. That's the most necessary thing to say so far. That the moment in which you try, and after collecting enough knowledge about the world, you realize there are infinite possibilities of things that might be wonderful to discover. And it doesn't even need to be something bad, because you can find complete satisfaction in exploring those things by default. It is wonderful to be capable of beholding something of that nature, and it is magnificent to be capable of seeing the usefulness in discussing whichever one thing that you want. And it doesn't even need to be considered a problem to see, to observe how many things we have to keep working on. Because the point is not to be harsh on the reality, to not. It isn't to be as negative as you can and oppress as much as it is possible for you the possibility or the ideas that might come in your way, just to keep observing how many more other things we can be working on, so to speak, in the final analysis, as a humanity as a whole. It doesn't need to be that way. You can gain the satisfaction of knowing that you are doing one thing that is good enough and that is meaningful enough, and that one thing particularly can be rewarding enough. That's the wonderful thing of having the capacity to choose so much and being given so much freedom when it comes to being alive, so to speak. It is a beautiful realization that so many people sadly can't even have. But that isn't even the point here. It is the reality that things, once you find them satisfying enough, can stay that way and can very much assist in every other aspect of your very existence. That's the proper idea. And that's something that I would love to keep seeing happening in other people, I guess. I obviously, quite sadly, if you're interested in anything like that, you will have to see people abandon their desires, their interests. There is, I think, there isn't, compared obviously to other types of physical pain. Besides that, once you understand how much of a negative impact it will have in everything. There is nothing worse than the realization that somebody decided to abandon their dreams in that sense. And that is obviously unavoidable because you can't control people to do what they supposedly wish to do. It is a horrible thing, but not something that you can even solve, so to speak. It's a realization that you are given about one particular aspect of existence, but not something that you can by default modify and properly play into or play with just to avoid somebody else pain, I guess. But even even if that is true, it doesn't justify staying down instead of the whole of, oh wow, it's so sad to see this one person abandon what they want. It is so negative to see that yet another dream fails. It's it's fine, and it is even necessary to observe others and to realize that they indeed failed. Because if you can't even measure your own self with the rest, not in regards to, wow, I am doing so well compared to the rest. Ha! I am such a great figure because I am doing better than anybody else. Even my enemies are doing worse than. No, it isn't about that. It is about I can observe that I have something meaningful enough pursuing, and I can observe that what I wish and what I say I want to do consistently can keep occurring throughout my life compared to those who are forced or who see it as a necessity to abandon what they say they desire. There are a few things which hurt more than being forced to abandon what you say you love so much. It is nothing short of a miracle to be capable of working every single day of your life and doing every single instance of your conscious time on this earth, so to speak, something that you can say you enjoy, and it is more than enough, something meaningful to keep pursuing and keep trying to ensure, not something that, oh wow, I am doing so much better than the rest. I am so distant from any other necessity. No, it isn't about the weird type of egotistical comparison. It is about, and I am doing well. I can see that the rest are struggling so fucking much. And despite all of that, I can ensure that I am doing minimally well. That's the satisfaction that I'm trying to talk about, and that's the degree of reward that most people can't even ensure. And I don't even know why, honestly, on a different note, I don't even understand how everybody can think, no matter to which degree you can or not, anybody can think. It is one of the. We have already had this discussion with a friend. I hope that also here it would very much help if I already mentioned that here. If one of the main qualities of a human were to be named, it is the capacity to think, to be a conscious being who can realize the act of thinking. And instead of thinking, you have the possibility of obviously rationalize different things, different aspects and desires and whatnot. And it is wonderful to see that you can make sense out of your interests. And it is on the opposite side weird to realize that some people fail to do that. And not, there isn't even any clear explanation as to why. I guess that there isn't even, most people don't have completely evil desires. Most people don't want to see the world burn, so to speak. It doesn't happen that way, that you find humans being completely filled with evil, even if you try to argue something along the lines of, oh no, yeah, we as human beings come from a place where we were forced to discover the evil that exists in this world, and we were forced to confront the negativity that exists out there. Even if you say something like that, you observe the world, you observe the people around you, and you realize that so many of them don't have negative interest. You realize that even sometimes those who are the most damaged by the world in which we live don't want bad things to happen. It's it's a wonderful thing to see that. And once you have that proper realization, it is that you need to ask yourself, and why do people abandon that? It is, that's what I mean, that takes time. You can't properly explore such a question because you need to analyze every single possibility as to why it happens. Sometimes, sometimes there is even a lack of any type of reaction from the outside. And everybody understands to a certain degree, yeah, I shouldn't be rooted so much on external validation. I shouldn't be waiting so much to see if the results that I am looking for are there or not. Once I have different discussions with others, it is impossible to be completely detached. It is completely delusional to expect anybody to be completely detached. The average person can't live without any kind of attachment. You can't expect them to do things for the sake of making stuff up and nothing else. It can't happen that way. You can't, no matter how hard you try, you can't create such a scenario in which somebody will willingly say, yeah, we had such a crazy time doing this one thing. No, it can't happen that way. You can't expect the people to not desire to see how others interpret, take, minimally interact with their creations. But sadly, that's the main reality of that. That more times than not, you're expecting anything out of what you are, for the sake of your own entertainment, I guess, doing, for the sake of your own happiness, creating. When in reality, it shouldn't be something that happens out of that. It shouldn't be something that needs to be centered around any kind of reaction. I mean, sadly, to a certain degree, because it is the final reality. You realize after thinking so long, there is no need to think with the rest. That is kind of a different discussion. Obviously, why it is an obligation to still do it, but hedonism is pretty easy to achieve, so to speak, and to find satisfaction for yourself, by yourself, is a possibility which most people forget about. And there are so many dreams that disappear because you expected out of nowhere to get as much recognition. It's like if there is something that can be said of the present times is that sadly there are so many things outside of your control that it could very well probably happen, statistically speaking, be an event that whoever does every single thing correctly in terms of if it isn't understood so far, I am talking about the stuff like social media at this point in this particular example. Even if you were to play every single card correctly for half a year, it all could die or it all could fail somehow because there are so many things outside of your personal control that no matter what you do, it is impossible to ensure every single factor. You can obviously say, and not only you did personally everything correctly, but also you somehow did a miracle and got every other thing which needed to interact with your desire to do so and to ensure the satisfaction of this one particular interest. Perhaps it happens, perhaps it doesn't, and perhaps it never becomes a reality. Once again, the modern world deprives the human of so many controllable factors that you will be surprised if you were shown without having before ever considered how many things are impossible to solve and so many things are impossible to properly account for because nobody can even understand how they work all in this overly interconnected internet in which we exist. But it doesn't still mean that you shouldn't try just because it might fail. That's that's the second kind of problem that you see in this type of people. I hate this narrative of oh yeah, you know what? I shouldn't give it a try because it might go wrong. I shouldn't even bother doing what I like because it might not give me the result that I am looking for. The first and most obvious thing. Obviously, if what you are trying to talk about, if what you are trying to go for, if what you are saying that needs to be isn't in any kind of way truly something that you desire, but rather something that is in the place of your real desire, as in, let's say, proper example, you don't really care about playing a video game. You don't really care about that. You don't really care about singing. You don't really care about spending your time with other people. What you care about is the final result that comes after that. You get, for example, something that can very much be observed in the present world. You don't care about playing something that is good. You're willing to play incredibly horrible, devoid of essence games which bring nothing interesting to the table. You're willing to go as far as to spend hours and hours doing something incredibly horrible just because you want a reward that might in any kind of way satisfy you. It doesn't even make sense to work that way, to act like that. But it happens and people seems to agree that it is okay. You don't want to socialize because you find it interesting. You want to do it because you want to find something deeper, some type of deeper satisfaction that only exists for you. You only want to one of the best. Also, before continuing, there are construction works happening outside of my house. I forgot about them. I hope they aren't loud. I can barely think with them. So I beg you, if they are too loud, tell me because they kind of make me angry. I will make that a pin message. Anyways, continuing. I was trying to go for instead of the social realm, there is even this sad reality um, in which you realize that people don't even want to socialize, don't even want to be a social creature. You just want the rewards. You just want the satisfaction that comes with knowing that somebody is going to give you a certain thing that's you get to have a certain benefit from being with certain people. You will get to do certain type of actions with others just because you spend some time with that. It is an incredibly horrible thing to be so centered on results that might as well never come and never ever appear. But people are fine with that, and people seem to enjoy it. And I don't think it makes sense, but it isn't a mechanism that we can so easily solve, I guess. It isn't something that we have properly taken care of so far. It isn't something that, as of right now, we have properly started observing and we have properly started to work on. There are, to a certain degree, obviously, also, on the other hand, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you got people doing so much what they desired. There, there is there is something beautiful about knowing that. There isn't any other signal besides that you can truly consider as a proper clue that we are moving towards the right direction, I guess. But I guess, yeah, as always, it is easier to center yourself around the bad things than to try in any kind of way to think about the other good and positive ones. It's it's always this weird observational issue in which you decide not truly to enjoy stuff but rather to somehow create pleasure out of torturing yourself with ideas, something weird like that. I don't know. It is more common than what one would consciously expect. It might as well be any kind of clue towards a deeper problem, obviously. In this case, of the whole humanity, because it is incredibly common. But on the other hand, as I said before, it doesn't mean that we are not moving in the right direction. I guess. Anyways, I I don't know. I think it is quite a crazy thing to consider that the pleasure of existing could be such, that the enjoyment of being could be such, is it is indeed something crazy. I mean, the honesty comes in the aspect of what I said before. Because you realize that there are people out there who still haven't even solved that problem for themselves. It doesn't feel fair to say, yeah, I am happy with life. I am completely fine with life. I am completely satisfied with life. There are people who still haven't even found a glimpse of something of that sort. It doesn't mean that you are not having a good time, but it does mean that you are given the possibility of helping others. And after that, you can create as many excuses as you wish. That's the most fantastic thing about this discussion. You see how many excuses you can come up with. It isn't your responsibility, it isn't your necessity, it isn't even something that you were even properly trained to do. Why will you care about other people? Why will you even try to care about others? Why will you be less self centered? Why would you have a less interest in your own self? Why would you, in any kind of manner, satisfy somebody else besides yourself? If you can't even experience that satisfaction yourself, why would you think that other people needed to be helped? If nobody tried to help you, why would you even try to do anything good? If your own goodness is already ensured, if your own safety might be put at a risk before you even accomplish any kind of meaningful thing, it's it's incredibly disappointing to see how many of those weird excuses we have and how many of those weird reasons can somebody come up with. But it, at the very least, or even with that, it doesn't mean that we truly have nothing to pursue, nothing to desire, and nothing to believe that might be good. There is, there are very few things which remain in that realm. The capacity to be more than just an excuse, than to be more than just the potential that every human has isn't themselves, but it is a constitutory part of their existence. The capacity to be more than what your ideas are sometimes is a wonderful thing. The capacity to work towards obtaining an even better, deeper satisfaction is what a at some point so many people realize is useful. But I don't know. I guess it always takes time. And that's the main problem. There is this, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. In order to give it a proper explanation, I guess, people feel so much pressure sometimes to do things which are meaningless in the end. So much of a desire towards a particular kind of act, kind of behavior, kind of way of being, which doesn't truly, even to themselves, make it better in any way. It just forces people to be so much less. There is this idea even of you can think of yourself as a being that might as well be infinite. But it doesn't really mean that you should try to do it, because there is a certain problem inside of that. The moment in which you lose the consciousness of your limited existence is the moment in which also you are not bound anymore by the necessity to create and by the necessity to express what you have. There is this unending risk in which most people fail to see that doing, being, existing, experiencing is better than to purely abandon whatever it is they wish to, just because it seems simpler to do it that way. It's like somehow there is this whole narrative in which you say, yeah, I don't feel comfortable when there are so many bad things around me. I don't feel good knowing that there is pain and that there is suffering. Perfectly fine with that argument. But what kind of actions are you even taking to avoid feeling all of that annoyance, all of that pain? If you live such a sedated life, does it even make sense to be complaining? Do you even realize how irrational it is to be that way? It's 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 disappointing to see so many people who say something magnificent but are incapable of acting in regards to that very same idea. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess that's that. What I do know, I need to take yet another break. This time, uh, either meeting break, as they will call it. So yeah, give me 1 second. Uh, Anyways, being real, I think we can leave it around here today. Um, it annoys me incredibly much to know. I kind of forgot that is kind of my fault that I forgot that they were doing construction works outside of my home. So obviously, it is easier to say, "Wow, they are doing so much noise." I forgot. I should have remembered that instead of being angry here. But yeah, construction, therefore noise, therefore I cannot really focus. It is like a constant annoyance happening in the background, which slowly drips away at my patience. I think we have reached the limit today. I hope. Oh man, I pray to God that I will say for them to not be working anymore tomorrow, because if everything goes well, tomorrow we will be here again. Tomorrow it should be so far another day in which we can keep on doing whatever. It should seem to be a possibility. It should happen. And even if it doesn't, not excusing myself, not in that sense. Um, the probability of us getting to be here is pretty high. And besides that, also, let's say that way, yeah. And besides that, there is also the reality that very much guaranteed this Saturday night, um, or Wandering Podcast first official episode, I guess. But yeah, anyways, not that much more to add. Now for real, not that much more to add. I I will start working. I guess, yeah. After discussing it so long and after thinking so much about it and ruminating on it, I guess it's time to start working on the dissertation. That's kind of the point, basically. That was the whole point of this. Do something that feels satisfying, that gives you enough satisfaction, and not just a selfish type of satisfaction. It doesn't work that way. You will find out personally that the moment in which you allow so much desires to creep on your existence, which serve no purpose behind their existence besides just the instantaneous type of reward that you gain, try to get rid of them. And that's the very same thing of, oh yeah, you know what? I will keep avoiding creating something that might serve other people besides myself. I can finally express ideas in a meaningful manner and see how useful they can be for other people as they have been for me. I can in any manner be sure that what I end up creating is valuable enough, not just as it was for me before, but also to whoever stumbles upon it. I can do that. I can stop being so secure in my own existence and so safe within my own boundaries of, yeah, you know what? I want to even risk making something of that sort. So, yeah, the point is 99% sure I will start working on that probably today, I guess. But, anyways, that's besides the point. Uh, Also, I think it personally, you don't even hear it that much because you are very accustomed to your own voice. But it might be, it is all from the outside that I am quite tired also. Uh, I should have gotten enough rest. I don't. Haha, I don't. So, anyways, I will take my leave and try to rest a bit more. What a wonderful thing it is to to have such types of problems. I guess I don't know. I mean, I keep saying that this is everything, and I can't stop talking. My bad, but there is always this. They stop to their machines. What the fuck? They are taking a break or something. Um, there is this funny realization of, you know, really, even with all of those problems, it doesn't mean that you can't do what you wish to. It is like a very big excuse most of the time what you say in regards to that. It's kind of weird to see how prone to, I don't even know if this discouraging discourses made up by oneself we are. That's the proper way to say it. It's like a necessity to be negative for the sake of it, so something like that. Not for the sake of it, as if it was a necessity truly. It is the interest in giving up because you don't even want to be hard with the reality that things could be so much better. That's what's so wonderful to see. That you indeed in in the world you have so many possibilities and you're going to stay only in the realm of your ideas because it might be hard to accomplish. Fuck it being hard. Do what you wish. Anyways, that's. I said that I am leaving. I will be leaving. Ah, we will have time in the future, I guess. We will have time for that in the future. I still also. Unavoidably, now for real, last thing. I still have like every single exam to take. I am very close to finals, so very good to know that I might not be around for that. Or because of that. I will be around them certainly. I have to do them. I have to approve. Anyways, thanks. Thanks for watching as always. It has been very pleasurable, I guess. But sadly, between the noise and how tired I am, I don't want to continue, at least right now. In the future, we will retake any particular discussion that was happening. But so far, right now, that's it. I throw in the towel, I guess. And yeah, I will say, and nothing else. In reality, there is always a tiny bit more. It doesn't cost that much. Uh, Reminder to oneself. It is good to rate the people. It costs 10 extra seconds to rate somebody. Why not to do it? The best thing is, personally speaking, not only that you can rate other people, but that you can feel the satisfaction of knowing that you did it compared to the constant pain that happens afterwards when you realize that you could have even tried and you failed because you didn't give it a go, so to speak. Crespian, no. Good evening, but also we're we are so close to ending Crespian. I, I have failed you. I I couldn't go for longer, Crespian. Sorry. No, wait. No more teasing. Yeah. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're fine. But I don't have that much more stamina on me today. And also, I am pretty sure it can be heard because mentally they are drilling my brain. There is noise outside, and it is very much interrupting me, um, mentally speaking. But yeah, the point is no more stream. Sorry, no more for today. Tomorrow, supposedly tomorrow, if everything goes well tomorrow, another stream before Saturday. But yeah, once again, my bad. Uh, anyways, anguish. I mean, yeah. Will you remain a viewer? What are you even talking about? What? 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 Will you what? Will you remain a viewer? What? What? I didn't mean that I am going to quit. What? What? Uh, I didn't say that I was going to. Okay, my bad. If I said it in that way, if I gave you the impression that I was going to quit, no, I'm not going to quit. I mean that I am done today. What? 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 What did Crespian mean by that? No, I am. Hopefully, I'm not going to quit. Hopefully, well, but yeah, I guess if you mean internet, yeah, I will try to. I guess. Will you? Ah, don't worry, don't worry. There is. Don't think about it like this. Think about it like you are in time because we can remind each other that there is still time in the future. And exactly. There is still time. We are young people, we are young minds, young souls. There is so much to see in the world, there is so much to do, to pursue. Don't worry because one day you failed. Be happy to be capable of even seeing how something went wrong because you can change for the better and do an even better show in the future. Don't be angry because you got late here. Be capable of enjoying it because at the very least you were there compared to others. Thank you so much, Crespian. There you go. No, for real. Let me write out. Nothing else to say. Anyways, who I have two options. I guess I haven't, being honest, I haven't rated rice cake in quite a long while, and it makes me happy to read rice. I don't know. I hope he has regained some consistency, but so far he didn't seem to be consistent before. So yeah, reading him is quite a satisfaction. It's like a rare event to see Rice live. So yeah. Anyways, as I said before, as I have been saying for the last 5 hours, let me end stream. Let me write out. Tomorrow we will have more opportunities, and tomorrow it will be a better, brighter day in which so many other things might go our way. We will be filled with thrill to know that we did what we had to, while today we live to rest and to be ourselves in a different space. Thanks for everything. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for lurking. Thanks for watching the world. Thanks for every single piece of appreciation as always. Be capable, please, of realizing the wonders of life, of doing what you wish, of working towards those goals that matter so much, of being happy. Final point at that. Thanks. Have a good one. And until the next time we can be here, whenever it is, probably tomorrow. And do not be disappointed if it doesn't happen. But no, yeah, I will try to be here tomorrow. It doesn't mean that I don't want to. Thank you. Goodbye.